Askren, two of my favorite Green Bay Packers fans. It was a tough one.
Stop.
I didn't want to bring it up. It just came up organically, Kyle.
Yeah, real
So,
organic.
Christian, we actually had friends over, and I actually watched the first Packers game this season, and I forgot how it's been a while. I haven't watched football in a long time. I forgot how emotionally involved people get with the Green Bay Packers. Like, these people were depressed. My friends were depressed.
I watched the game, and I thought about our friend Steve here the entire time. And it is one of the most frustrating games, if you were a Packers fan, to watch, because all these little things added up, these little mistakes, and some of the penalties are not penalties, and then the penalty at the end. It's like literally the worst way maybe to lose a game.
Yeah.
Did they cheat us or what?
No. I mean, we had every opportunity to win the game. We didn't.
Just weird red zone stuff.
Yeah. Listen, I was fully mentally prepared for Tom Brady to rip my heart out.
He was.
With some,
he said as much before the game.
With some, last minute heroic drive like he's done a million times. But that's not what happened. He gave us every opportunity to win the game, especially in the second half, even though we tried to give it away even more with stuff. The first half ending, the fumble in the first possession of the second half, Devontae Adams dropping a touchdown pass.
What about them not going for it on fourth down?
It was stupid.
That was insane. I was like, all right, they're going for. I mean, it was just it had to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't even think kicking was an option at that point.
No, it was.
I was like, you're giving the ball back to Tom Brady
with
2 minutes. It's like there's no guarantees you're gonna get the ball back, and they didn't. And they lost.
Yeah, it was really dumb. So that's what I think really hurt. Like, if it had just been a good game and then Tom Brady beats you, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, he's done that to a million teams for 20 years now. But the way it played out was really painful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, I don't think this team is.
Kyle's too depressed. Can we go to another topic? Kyle's
I
so
stocked
sad.
the fridge with monsters
He
for
did.
this guy. He's got.
I was in a really bad place on Sunday. West Virginia got a big win last night, so that helped. But I don't know. It really sucks because this team felt different. They were really. I mean. They're really good all year, and I think it's going to look a lot different next year. So that does not make me feel good.
Well, Tom Brady's probably on the back half of his career at this point. Probably only has 10, 15 years to go, so you won't have to worry about him too much longer.
Well, I think Aaron Rodgers does too. It's just a matter of whether it's in Green Bay or
Dude,
not.
if he left, that'd be crazy. Although maybe he does.
A lot of people don't like him. I don't really know why, because I don't watch too much football. But a lot of people
I
don't
think the
like
public perception is changing a little bit. There have been a lot of stuff that have like he doesn't have a relationship with his family. Like there was something that happened there, and he's just like completely cut him out of his life. And Aaron's been pretty open. Like he's not gonna just come out and combat every negative story on him like a lot of people would. Like he literally has a quote. It's like kill him with indifference. Like he just doesn't care what people.
Go him with indifference. That's interesting.
He doesn't care what people think about him, and he's not gonna take the time to entertain a lot of this stuff. And I think maybe that's rubbed people the wrong way some, but he's starting to put himself out there. He does a weekly hit on the Pat McAfee show that's been really popular, and he got involved with the Barstool Fund, donating a bunch of money there. And so I think it's starting to change a little bit.
That was crazy.
It's up to almost 30 million.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay. So we are the Kyle Brackey support team for this show. We're there for you. But hey, a lot went on this weekend. A lot of sort of news, not just wrestling events. Bad news, scary news. We had the Olympics scare where, a report comes out, and I don't know who was first on that, but then everyone picked it up, that it was a formality that the Olympics were going to be canceled, et cetera, et cetera. That it was like Japanese government has basically conceded it's not happening, and it's just a matter of like them trying to position for the 2032 games. And then the IOC and Japan comes out and says categorically untrue, nothing, that is not right, that is not accurate, that is not the case. So I don't know. I don't understand why maybe it's just someone that is in the Japanese government that wants to stir up negative information about the Olympics because they don't want them to happen. But I don't know if we should feel certainly you shouldn't feel more secure that the Olympics are going to happen as a result of that story. But
well, you know what I do feel it does help me. And if you do look at the world meters, there's a slight downturn. They changed the way they're counting cases, Christian Piles. They said the PCR test has too many cycles, which I had a friend on Twitter who's been beating this drum for a while, and they changed it. So that means we should be getting less positive tests. There we go. Cases go down. We get the Olympics. Everyone's happy.
is that worldwide or is that just in America?
That is worldwide. I think it was either a WHO recommendation, maybe. I believe it's worldwide.
Okay. So, I don't know if that makes things better or worse, but I guess it'll reduce the numbers.
Better. Less tests. Less positive tests. Better.
Yes. So, but also in the same vein of COVID shutting stuff down, Penn State, Michigan State, it sounded like they were a go, and then they weren't a go. I don't know what went on there exactly. I don't know if it was Michigan State's reluctance to go or Penn State still wasn't able.
Said it was mutually agreed upon, which makes me think maybe both teams were going to have a number of starters out and just didn't feel like it was worth it, or I don't know.
What are they going to do with all these missed duels? I mean, and just kind of
seriously
going right to Michigan. Michigan shuts down their entire athletic department for 2 weeks. And
well, you know what I saw? I'm very curious to get more information, and I don't know that we have a Christian, but there was a whole bunch of people on Twitter, including Miles Amin's father, saying, "Here, there's a Change.org petition, open the Michigan athletic department back up." So there's obviously people who are not seeing the wisdom in their decision, who are trying to get it back opened up. So I wish we had more details, like how many positive tests did they have that decided to shut down? Was anyone really sick, or was it just a few athletes who got positive?
I read 5.
Yeah, it's 5, and they're so concerned about it because it's the new strain or whatever.
The remix.
Yeah.
Across the entire athletic, 5 across the any team.
Yeah, and could be support staff, probably even employees.
Yeah.
I don't understand the entire department.
I don't either.
It's like at that point, why don't shut down the school? What's the difference? I mean, if you've got the Michigan wrestling team, they compete or they train in a standalone facility. I can't imagine they're having a lot of crossover with other departments. They have a weight room in their thing. They do have a giant Olympic weight room across the road, but I'm sure they probably isolate their training all to the Banya Center, or however you say it. So why? It just seems like an unnecessary broad stroke. Obviously, if there were issues within the Michigan team, the wrestling team is obviously warranted. But I don't understand. The hockey team hasn't had a positive test since July. And
what? For real?
Yeah, that's a quote from the hockey coach. Which is actually sort of unbelievable. That's crazy. Because I know that Michigan is testing like 6 times a week or something crazy. Because when Coach Torella was here for Pantaleo, he was like, we get tested all the time.
And you're bound to get some false positives with the kind of testing they do.
Exactly. So for them to not have, for the hockey team not to have any since July, I feel like Miles Amin puts out the hashtag let us compete, the whole statement for Michigan, you have to figure that Michigan, the wrestling team, was not affected by COVID. Like there was not a positive. You don't have a positive test and then say let us compete right after, right? So it's a weird decision, but Michigan throughout this process, going way back, has been the most cautious, perhaps overly cautious Big Ten team, maybe team in general.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it in the summer. Their president of the school was like an epidemiologist. So he's been very cautious about everything. And when football was still up in the air, he was like pretty outspoken against it, which is like blasphemy for Michigan. So yeah, that's not surprising that they're being super cautious.
But do they have students?
I don't know.
On campus?
I can't imagine they do. I don't think they do.
So the University of Michigan is entirely virtual right now, other than athletes?
I believe Missouri is as well. Missouri's mostly virtual, if not fully virtual. Wisconsin's mostly virtual. I don't believe fully virtual, though. But, a lot of cities are starting to open up with curious timing. Detroit's open, Chicago's open, New York's open, California is back open.
It
So
is?
hey, we're getting yesterday. We're getting there, Christian.
All right, let's go. I guess. I don't know what's changed, but let's go. So, I mean, for Michigan's team, here's here's the duels they had postponed: Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Penn State. Like two of the biggest duels of the year postponed.
So bad. It's so bad, Christian.
It's bad and sad.
So bad.
So really, the next big thing. We've got the is Mayor Humdinger here.
Yeah, you got to go away, Ozzy. Daddy's on his podcast.
Ozzy's looking for Mayor Humdinger.
Go pee. Go. He can go pee by himself, guys. Don't worry.
Big. That's good. That's good. Glad Ozzy is potty trained. So yes, some of the biggest duels of the weekend are delayed.
Kozak says that Michigan is having an independent state tournament planned to be held in Wisconsin.
Yes, this is happening. That's happening.
They're gonna have a state tournament in Wisconsin.
I could dress some of my athletes up as Michigan residents so they can win multiple state titles.
You know, that's the only way you're gonna catch like Mark Hall. He's got like 6.
Seriously.
So you got to win a couple in the same year.
We just need we need one person to go to Michigan. They just collect mail from a whole street, right? They just start pulling a piece of mail out of every mailbox, and then you show up with the mail, and it's got the zip code. Boom, we're wrestling. What do you guys say about that?
Well, you've got a letter here from Discover, so obviously you're from Michigan.
Someone on the YouTube chat says Michigan is virtual unless you have labs like nursing students.
Okay. Well, we know nurses can't get it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Where we can talk about that was enough bad news. We
so much bad news.
Lead with the negativity. You know, that's what they
Packers
say.
getting beat. Everything's canceled. Is there anything really good? Because we had some wrestling to talk about, but if you had some really good news, Christian, that would really make our day better.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any really good news.
Damn it!
I mean,
great.
my gosh, we've got a lot going on. I mean, everything's good, right? We're everything's gonna be all right. We're getting there. This will hopefully be the last season of this. Wait, did Gable take Ben's advice? I didn't see this. What happened?
That was. What do you mean you didn't see this?
This. I thought it was like video of him like accosting Tom Brands and being like, I want Costello. Listen.
Put Costello on the mat.
Yes. But it didn't look like, if he did it, it didn't work because he only got just the one match against Tony Cassiope. He won dominantly. He really ramped up into the third period, getting multiple takedowns.
He's better. He's a lot better than he has been before. I'm really impressed.
He's super good.
Tom Brands called him the best guy in the world in the press conference afterwards.
Really? I'm telling you, I'm with him. He might be.
I mean, I'm not shocked if he wins the world title this year because Gwiz has been competitive with those guys, and Gable was competitive with Gwiz. What was that? 15, 16 months ago. No, a little longer than that. And dude, he's a lot better than he was. He really is. Like his attacks are impressive. His go behinds, his mantis position. Dude, he's so good.
Yeah, I feel like obviously Akul, Petrishvili, they're going to be the guys there. They're going to have a hard time scoring on him. And if that's going to be a big struggle, I think Akul is the most. I've always thought he is kind of the best heavy of this generation, even though him and Gino really have gone back and forth forever. Yeah. I feel like he can athletically challenge Gable. I feel like he's the only one that really can. But we've got some guys here with big ideas with Gwiz, Paris. You never know with Kirkfleet to challenge him for the Olympic spot. But he looks like the guy. I really think we're going to have a huge Olympics. I really do. I think we're going to send a really good team. I think we're going to come home with a bunch of medals.
Hey, so I was watching the Iowa duel in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Spencer's going to rack up way more points because he's really, really high level on top where Gable is not high level in the top position. But watching them, it's like these guys are so far past their collegiate competition right now.
Oh, man.
But who's better? In your opinion, I was watching that because it's, both of them went out and killed. I think Spencer killed the number 9 ranked guy, and Gable killed the number 3 ranked guy. And it was like, damn, these guys are so good. And, like I said, obviously, by folk style standards, Spencer's always going to put up more points here. But who's actually better? Because they are both so good.
Man, I think you got to say, well, it's tough because collegiately, Spencer has been better, right?
Well, has he though? Because he's got 5 losses and Gable only has 2. Yeah, Gable's got 2 losses. To the same person.
Well, I mean, if he's got titles.
Well, he's got 1. I mean, so Gable likely would have won a title last year. Spencer would have won his 3rd, but Spencer's wrestled for 3 years and Gable's only wrestled for 2.
Yes, right? It's a conversation. So on the one hand, well, regardless, Spencer's more dominant. Right,
Spencer dominant. Yeah, I said that's definitely gonna be the case because of his high level of ability on top, and maybe that's why we say he's better because he's so much better on top. Gable's top game is almost non-existent.
Yeah, really, it is.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at it's tough with Spencer because we're still at this point where we're like, where does he fit on the senior level? We've seen him do 1 tournament really. We feel like it's a guess. With Gable, we have the Gwiz win. He's already made Final X in 2019. He's beaten Adam Kuhn soundly twice, and so he's like really climbed the rungs. But I feel it's tough because Spencer does have the losses. He lost to 3 different people, and he has 5 total losses, I think.
Yeah.
But I think I still will say Spencer.
Final answer. Breck, what do you got?
I would say Spencer. I think because of the top game.
Yeah.
I think if I know it's harder for heavyweights to have like, I don't know, a consistent like top game series like that, but I think that it's such a, I mean, Spencer just blows these matches wide open with guys after being on top for 30 seconds. Yeah.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah. No, I would say folk style Spencer and then freestyle TBD. I mean, obviously, I think over the next 3 to 5 years, it's not going to be. Maybe it's going to be we'll see who's better this year in April, but I think it's far from say being determined for over the longer run. I don't really think there's ever, and obviously this is kind of like something I looked into a lot because it was one of my interests. I don't think there's ever been a guy who has been, and I've said this something similar before, but who's been as sure of a turner within the first 20 seconds of getting on top.
Yeah.
I mean, Spencer will turn you right away. Whether it was myself or David Taylor or Ed Ruth, other really good turners and pinners, I mean, it usually took us a while to massage them a little bit, to tenderize them, and then boom. Every once in a while, we I won't say we got lucky, but every once in a while, we locked up a cradle in a transition or went somewhere. Spencer against everyone but maybe like 3 or 4 guys, against say Seabass or a couple others, he is like a for sure turn within 20 seconds or something like that. It's insane.
And he's turned he turned pitch. He's turned pitch multiple times. I believe he's turned Rivera.
He did.
It goes back to maybe his freshman year, but he's definitely turned him. Yep. So he's turned everyone but Bresser, I guess. Which, he'll never wrestle him again. So, yeah, it's weird just how easy it looks. I feel like Logan is actually kind of the closest comp in terms of guys
good.
What?
So I was thinking Robles actually, and Robles would be only his senior year, but Robles.
Yep. Anthony comes to mind as well. I just think to see a guy just turning with bars like this it's just unique because you just don't see that much. But he's also I feel like he's just so able to consistently just head lever, get the wrist, reinforce bar tilt. But he's definitely on a pinning mission, more so where he'd be a little. He's wrestled 2 matches, so I'm not trying to really paint the whole season as what he's trying to do, but. In the past, he would get on top 4 turns and it's a tech, but now it's like he wants pins. That seems to be a definite switch that was flipped. But yeah, he looks just ridiculous with it's funny to see the conversation on Twitter after he matches as people are trying to like, what are we seeing? What is this? And he makes Pat McKee, who just looked great against the number 2 guy, just look completely not even average. The way he chews through these dudes, they don't even look relatively competitive, and they look so overpowered. Like, it's not just like beaten. It's like you watch like a Jordan Burroughs exchange. You're like, wow, this is just like the level of technique or whatever. Or David Taylor, they're just like miles ahead on the chessboard. But like, he's not just that, but he's just like, these guys look helpless. They look weak. They look like children, and they're not. These are bad dudes that he makes.
Yeah, it's a factor of power, Christian. You're right. I mean, there's no other way to explain it, because what he's doing is not like brand new moves or mind blowing exchanges.
Yes.
To your point, he's freaking driving ahead and he's chopping an arm in, he's grabbing a wrist, he's putting it in here. Like, they're not new things, they're not unique things. He's just doing them with a level of power that we haven't seen. I mean, to your point, it does remind me of like, when I grab a high school kid and I can just turn, cradle half, pin, bar, because they're just so weak compared to me. But that's what he's doing to other people his own size, his own age. It's almost, it's like a bully.
Yes, it is a bully on the Division I level. It is alarming. It is alarming to see how he's separated. It's interesting because I've like talked to him and been like, what's your strength routine like, or what do you do? But he's like it's. I mean, he obviously strength trains. He's like, it's genes, just kind of a thing he's had. Like, he's just really wrestled a long time. His parents were like judo masters or on the Olympic level, and I don't know, he's just got it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the Spencer Gable hour.
The rest of that duel.
Yeah,
because Iowa looks great and Minnesota looks terrible, and it's probably somewhere in the middle of both of those things.
Well, I mean, we said the kind of same thing about Nebraska look not good against Iowa, but they are good. It's Iowa. Iowa is the variable. Those are good teams. It's just Iowa.
Yeah, they're freaking good. They kill. I mean, Spencer Lee, then DeSanto, then Ironman. It's like bloodbath. And then even over at Minnesota's 2 better guys, Blockus, Max Buren gets a really solid win, and then Caleb Young beats Brayton Lee. And that match was kind of boring, but it was just like, that was like their hope of getting a win. And then after that, it was like, okay, well, Gable's going to get a win, but besides this, it's over.
Yeah, I feel like the Brayton-Caleb match is going to be an absolute coin flip every time. I thought Caleb's his takedown was really pretty sick, where he kind of clubbed the head and threw him almost to his back. He almost got near fall there. But I think they'll hit again. That's going to be a really, really close match every time.
He looks better so far this year. Definitely not the Big Ten Caleb Young we saw last year.
No way.
Well, I mean, but you guys brought up the issue for me, which, and I think it was probably the issue, was a long-term weight cut. He was, he's probably not ideally a 57-pounder, but you have Kemmer and you have Marinelli, who's a 57-pounder. And so this year you're making weight so many less times for such a smaller window. That's got to be a huge benefit to Caleb Young.
Yeah, and he didn't have to do it until after January, whereas before he was doing it from first weekend in November.
March. I'm sorry, March. Yes, November.
Yeah, so for a variety of reasons, he looks better. And who knows? Maybe he's dealing with an injury. You wouldn't hear about it if he was. Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, he looks better. Kimmer looked great in his first one. Our guy Andrew Bubba Sparks lost 8-4 to Marinelli. Just a pretty controlled win there from the Bull. He looks solid as ever. Nelson continues to look good. Jacob Warner dominant over Joels, and then Gable handles Cassiope 15-6. That's a lot of points.
Minnesota didn't even score a takedown until 184. And I know Ben says they look terrible, but like,
what were they supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Look at the guys they had going up against the Iowa guys. Like, who there was supposed to?
I thought Blockus or Brayton Lee. If you would have made some type of bet that one of them gets a takedown, I would have made them the favorite significantly, that they get one takedown between the two of them, and they didn't get one.
Yeah, I think if Caleb gets ridden out and Brayton gets away, I don't look at Minnesota all that much differently. But they won one more match,
Yeah, I agree. But it was, for me, it was the manner in which they got beat. So I think you were considering Brayton Lee to be the favorite, but McKee didn't put up a fight, and that's Spencer. But then Boudryden got murdered. Polanco got murdered. Blockus wasn't really all that close. Sparks did all right. LR got killed. Salazar actually did all right. Joel's got killed, and then Gable looked great, obviously.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Bracky just put it in the chat, but we didn't get to talk.
It just hit me.
They always wait until like after FRL.
I know.
Crazy stuff goes down, and we gotta wait. Hey, they're clamoring for I say there, but people are asking for a Monday show. I don't know. We used to do it like years ago, and then we kept being gone and having to cancel on Mondays because that's when we traveled back. So I don't know. Maybe something to think about. Probably not for right now discussion, but it came to me. But anyways, I say that because Teague Moore out at American, kind of out of nowhere, the rare during the season firing.
So I read up on this a little bit. This was so crazy that both his assistants, they left for various, one of them, they got a job or whatever. One of them took a different coaching position. The other one took just a job in the real world. And they didn't let him hire anybody else. So the only thing he had this year was this volunteer. Jason Grimes graduated last year, and he was a volunteer assistant. And so the volunteer assistant who's 1 year at college is now the interim head coach.
Who is it?
Jason Grimes.
Oh, Grimes. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I feel like I don't know what went on there with Coach Moore and American, but it's a weird thing. I know they have weird stuff with their assistants, and they maybe couldn't even have any this season. It's kind of It makes me. I hope there's no issues with American in terms of the program's long-term standing. It's been a good one in the past. They've struggled lately, but they were solid. I mean, what Mark Cody did with them was amazing, and certainly they could get there again.
Even in the release they put out, I was surprised. They were under 500 in duels. I mean, whatever. But they had 5 All-Americans, 32 NCAA qualifiers, and 47 EIWA placers under Teague, and I think that was 8 years or something like that. 9 seasons. That's in 9 seasons. That's pretty dang good for American.
Very solid.
I know the last few years have been a little down compared to probably his first part of his tenure there, but yeah, that's pretty dang solid for American.
Yeah, I feel like it's not related to performance, right? You don't make this decision based on performance.
Mm-hmm.
Something else
No,
happened.
heck no.
So something happened there.
Hasn't been any performance. They have not.
They didn't get to perform.
They haven't wrestled yet, right?
They have not. I just looked at their schedule. They have 3 duels before the IWAs. So
weird.
And Michigan's had 1? Penn State's had 0. I mean,
Michigan's had 2. Penn State 0. Stanford just wrestled last week. They're at 1.
First one.
How about them? They wore all black singlets.
I loved it.
Did you see this? No, they weren't wearing Stanford. I'm surprised the university lets them do that. It's like, I don't know.
What are you gonna do to them?
I mean, if the university has stopped giving it, what are they gonna do to them, Christian? They already canceled
who's paying for their travel? Who's paying for this? Who's paying the coach?
They're probably paying for it themselves. They raised $10 million.
That's true.
They raised $10 million. They can do whatever the hell they want. They might be flying private jet
They can
everywhere.
foot the bill to go to Cal State Bakersfield.
I guess so. I just thought it was a weird move. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's shameful what Stanford's doing.
Hey, so I saw it must have been Kyle just put in the Facebook chat that Griffith to 74 is not a full-time move.
Correct.
So he'll be back down.
So it just
yes.
Okay.
What'd they do that for? Why'd they?
Didn't get any reasoning behind it. It sounds like Ishins will eventually be up at 74.
Okay, that makes sense. Few odds and ends. Lance Runyon alert. This Panther train could be a fun
Lance Runyon gets so good.
Fun back to back.
I don't know.
I think it could be Coach Pugh. I think he's the new Coach Pugh project. That was
That's what Roper told me.
Yep. And same Coach Pugh was instrumental with Drew Foster. That worked out, and now he's got Lance Runyon here.
Appears to be ahead of schedule.
Appears to be ahead of schedule.
I think Drew Foster's freshman year, he had a losing record.
He did have a losing record. So ahead of schedule is Lance Runyon. Pins the Ant-Man in a cradle. He hit the cradle twice. That match was all over the place. Runyon was forcing a lot of the action, attacks. He got taken down, but then he gets away. Weird scramble. Then catches him in cradle. Then he cradles him again. Same crossface cradle. Rolls through. Ices the Ant-Man, who was 0-2. He lost to Broderson. It was not the...
When Ant-Man's not on, he's not on.
Yeah.
How about you guys put him in the rankings? Because you know who's beaten Broderson and Runyon this year?
Peyton Mako, who we have ranked ahead of both those guys. Yeah. Peyton's
there we go.
Yeah, Peyton's up to 16 now, I think.
Right. Good deal.
Ant-Man falls from 9 to 21. We kind of gave him, or to 22. We kind of gave him, he lost to Trey Munoz early in the year. We kind of gave him, he dropped a little, but we didn't punish him because he had a lot of really nice wins.
Last year.
Right. And Munoz is a true freshman, so who knows? Maybe he's
a top 5 guy.
Exactly. But then you lose back-to-back to Broderson, who has a loss to a Division III guy earlier this year.
Hey. Yeah. You're about to get yelled at by both D3 fans.
I will.
Everybody.
It's just facts. No one else on here has losses to a D3 guy. So then Mako jumps up to 16.
It could be a fun little back-to-back with Runyon and Kekheisen for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, Kekheisen he killed, who did he kill from Oklahoma? It was
Darian
bad.
Roberts.
Yes, yeah.
That duel snowballed, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it.
You can
say it.
No, it's just
you can say it.
There's just some
teams. What are you trying to say?
Because there's just some teams you watch and it's like, where's the fight?
Yeah.
And
oh god,
I feel like Oklahoma's one of those. I've been saying that for multiple years now, and you just you look up and down the lineup, and when things maybe aren't going the best, it's just I don't know. There's no pushback.
No, I see it too. I see it too. That's not an audacious take. Demas lost to Parker. That was Parker's beaten him multiple times now, I think.
Their series is so weird. I think that was their 6th match. They've had tiebreaker matches. Dom Demas has teched Ian Parker.
Yep.
Teched him?
Yeah. He teched him one time.
Folk style freestyle.
Folk style.
Come on.
I swear.
He's ridiculous. Dom Demas is but it feels like Ian has figured out some of these positions with him. Let me find the Parker. So here's their history. It looks like they've wrestled 7 times. So we've got the 4-3 win for Parker. We've got 4-2 win for Parker. 3-1 win for Demas. Tech for Demas 19-4. We've got a Parker Phileas match. That's not relevant to the conversation. We've got a 8-4 win over Parker, and then a 4-3 loss to Parker. So definitely crazy. Been all over the place. The Tech is sort of an outlier, but it's also very Josh Demas because the guy can put up.
Dom. You said Josh.
Oh my gosh! What a throwback. I do that at least once a show where I say a completely wrong name. Who knows?
Josh was a lot of fun to watch too.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Yes, he was. One of the better guys to not place in that era. He beat a lot of really good. He beat Dylan Alton. He beat Derek St. John. He beat a lot of good dudes. He might have. I don't know if he ever beat Welch, but he was really good.
I don't think he beat Welch.
I think he beat Burroughs once. Just the once. Okay.
Josh Demas did?
Ben!
He's joking.
Oh, okay.
Ben!
Well, I got Asperger's, so sometimes I don't get sarcasm.
No, but Ben, you can't just say that after you think. When someone says Josh Demas beat Jordan Burroughs, you can't blame that on anything other than.
I knew it didn't happen. I said, what are you talking about? I thought you were being serious.
Why would I? Yeah, okay.
Stop bullying me.
I'm not bullying you. I'm just not letting you off.
Empathy for my Asperger's.
No, I'm not empathetic. Okay, other odds and ends. So we're talking about Lance Runyon, exciting freshman. I think Chris Cannon's going to be really nice for Northwest. I watched his win over Purdue. I forget the guy's name even that he wrestled.
Evan Schroeder?
No,
He didn't wrestle Schroeder.
He's at 33.
He's at 33. I would have remembered that. I thought he looked really good, but I was like, this Purdue.
Oh, duh.
I was like, this Purdue guy is probably not great. I thought about saying something. I was like, well, I'm not gonna. Then people will be like, wow, consider who the competition. And maybe you could say that here against Alex Thompson, but I'm just saying it. I think Chris Cannon looks really good. He had a really strong redshirt season last year. His only losses were to Glory and Kolioko, a.k.a. Calaccio, as Ben likes to call him. I think he's good. He beat Tier 1 Eric Barnett twice last year. He beat Jay Schwarm, Tommy Hoskins. Chris Cannon is going to be good.
Yes.
Agreed. He looks great. Speaking of Eric Barnett,
but we are just really we're
That's
keeping
why
it
Devin
moving.
Schroeder was on my mind. Because he's like number 2 or number 3 ranked, and Eric Barnett put him in a body bag.
He did. He was not ranked number 2 by FloWrestling.org, but others maybe made that decision. But regardless, Devin Schroeder gets pin slayed by Eric Barnett. Barnett was down 2-0. He's kind of getting ridden, and then hits a little. What do you even call that, Ben? Have you seen this?
Yeah, it was kind of like Granby cartwheelish, but then Schroeder just left his head just dangling out there, and Barnett just freaking grabbed it and squeezed it.
We should pull up that tweet because Eric Barnett planks during this, and it was sort of strange.
What?
Here. Yeah, it's weird. Hold on one second.
So he gets the headlock, and it looks like Schroeder might get off his back for a second, and
he's flat.
Barnett gets his hips down, and is really trying to pull him back, and he's literally planking off the mat. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Schroeder almost went like over the top.
Yeah,
like to get off his back. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I just slacked it, Tyler. If you can pull it up, it's a pretty crazy exchange, and to see Schroeder in that kind, he's pretty solid, but Barnett's got some stuff clearly. So that was a big win, and then that helped Wisconsin pull the upset over Purdue.
Yeah.
And wow, who's faster than Tyler? Nobody. I say, here it comes. If you want to see the full pin slay, there it is.
Yeah, so it kind of like wings him / Granby a little bit, and then grabs the head.
Yeah, really, just kind of like a.
Right here, watch Barnett. He's off the mat.
Look, see his feet. That's
how you get maximum weight there.
That makes it extra squeezy. That's like one of the tightest headlocks of all time.
Coach told you to get off your knees.
Schroeder would have been he'd have been out.
Yes,
eventually.
Yes.
It was so tight. So yeah, that's obviously a shakeup. What was the rankings fallout from that loss, Kyle?
Good question. So Schroeder, I almost said Schrader because Ben, he drops from 3 to 6. Hard to drop him further when he has wins over D'Agostino, Cronin, McKee, all those guys in there. And then Barnett comes into the rankings at number 17, just behind Heinzelman and Cardini, who have beaten him this year.
Heinzelman, hey, how about him? He's really looked pretty solid this year. He's had a solid true freshman year. Then last year we were like, what is happening? What has happened to Malik? And now he's back looking pretty dang good. He's undefeated?
I think so. 3-0.
He just beat Nick Aguilar last weekend.
Soundly, he beat him. He beat him bad. Beat him down, you could say.
Yeah, 3-0. He beat Cardani to open the season, which was a good one. Beat Barnett in that same try they had, and then a solid, almost major over Aguilar.
9-2 over Cardani, 13-5 over Barnett, and 10-4 over Aguilar. So he's putting up serious points. He's not winning 4 threes or whatever. So impressive. Yes. I mean, Ohio State remains just a strange team. Like I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, I did not expect
what do you mean by
Heinzelman.
strange? Define strange.
Okay, strange. Well,
because I think
their 197 is currently Hoffman and not Chase Singletary. That is strange to me. I thought it was going to be Singletary, and then Hoffman. Okay. I think he lost a weird one, but then
he lost to Rob Bluski of Illinois.
He was Bluski'd.
Losing record last year.
Then he beats Janzer.
Right. Then he beats. It looked like Rutgers was going to win that duel. I mean, Poznansky beat Rocky Jordan, and then they're the favorite going into 197. Janzer was a top 15 guy at 184 last year, up at 197, and Hoffman beats him and totally swung it back in Ohio State's favor, because if Rutgers won that match, Orndorff needs bonus points for them to win the duel, and then he comes up clutch, and I mean, still ridiculous. It wasn't gas tank carry, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
So I mean, too. when I'm looking at Ohio State this year, Christian, what I see is a bunch of really good recruits, and none of them have made that jump to be really high level, with the exception of Sasso. Heinzman's getting a little better. Decatur was a really good recruit, not doing that well. D'Amelio's, he's all right. Sasso's making that jump. Cleary's he's all right. Obviously, they lost Karchla at 165, which would have been a big one. Ethan Smith and Romero are solid. Rocky Jordan's solid, but not great. Hoffman, solid, but not great. And same thing at heavyweight, and which is something we haven't seen. They're not a bad team, but we've usually seen Ohio State competing for national titles. So they're definitely a step down from that this year.
Yeah, they're not going to compete for a national title this year. Even with Karchla, doesn't look like that would have been anything possible. But I think it's with 33. I just don't know. I mean, Decatur just on the mat is just so helpless until that gets shored up. You're not going to be able to trust him in matches. I wonder if D'Amelio can ever. And I mean, everyone sees the talent with Decatur, right? Obviously he can take down literally everybody in the country. It's just putting together the full 7 minutes and getting out on bottom that eludes him. It's like I'm surprised that D'Amelio can't be there 33 and get Etchemendia in there at 41. I wonder if that would be a better lineup, but I'm certain.
Did he make 33?
No, apparently no. But I'm surprised that that's where they are.
It is crazy, Ben. You look up and down that lineup, and everyone in their starting lineup was a name in high school. And
absolutely,
everybody.
A number of them were big time stars.
Yeah.
So again with Decatur, and I said this last year, he's not terrible. But they're, and maybe if they had a better 33, he would be kind of get to sit on the backside and wrestle in some open tournaments and kind of figure himself out and figure the bottom thing out. No, listen, there's a chance. There's a lot of recruits that never actually do that, right? They just can't get there for whatever reason. But there's also a bunch who, Malik Heinzman would be a great one, who really struggled last year. And now, we're not all the way through the year, but he's looking like a significantly different person. I could see Jordan Decatur making an improvement like that. And, I mean, he's 2-2 this year, but he lost to Lucas Bird and Sammy Alvarez, who I think are both really solid people. Illinois is actually doing a pretty good job of developing the lightweights between Lucas Bird, Justin Cardani, who we just mentioned, Mikey Carr. They're doing, Illinois is not
Dylan
great,
Duncan.
but they're doing a pretty good job. Dylan Duncan, and then even their backup at 141, a kid named Danny Pacino.
Yeah,
I'm blanking who he beat. It was someone he beat somebody
D'Amelio.
good. He beat D'Amelio. Yeah. So I mean, Illinois is doing a good job at developing those lightweights. So to that point, I think if Decatur got a redshirt year this year and was able to wrestle 30 matches and get some not so great guys, I feel like he would make a big improvement.
Yeah, that could be really helpful for him and what he really needs. It may have been what he needed last year as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny. It's tougher to know. I feel like someone like Caleb Romero is someone Bracky and I were talking about before the show who after his freshman year, I was like, oh man, it's probably not going to happen for him.
There's a good one. Yes.
And then he has just been combination of the weight change and just probably overall development. He's been rock solid, and he's been great this year for them. 7-1 over Shannon, 15-5 over Joe Grello, and then he beat Kradiger 9-5. So he's
when
doing
do you guys
great.
think my guy Kradiger in the rankings?
He's right on the edge. No, seriously, he's right on the edge.
Right.
Okay. He's next guy in right now.
He's had some solid wins because he just beat I don't know how to say his name. You guys are make fun of me, so I'm not gonna say it.
No, he beat Emil Sondland.
That's a tough one.
And that is. And Sondland had lost last week though too, so that didn't help. If Sondland had been undefeated, it would have looked even better. But I mean, he's right there, man, and he's gonna get a lot more opportunities wrestling in the Big Ten. And he's, I mean, it looks like he's improved a lot from last year.
That'd be not. Yeah, so your Caleb Romero one was a great one, where a kid who's just gotten better. Because you're right, Christian, as a freshman. I'm sorry, so not his redshirt year, but the next year, he just wasn't all that good. And right now, between last year and this year, he's so much better than what he was. Kradiger is another guy who is a really good high school wrestler, and he struggled last year. His freshman year was not great. In Big Ten, obviously a lot of tough opponents, but he got a lot better. Took third at the UWW U20s, which is, that was a really solid performance, and he's looking to be much better this year.
Yes, clearly.
Like it does happen where guys improve. There's obviously some times when it doesn't, but sometimes I feel like not only kids but fans forget that development happens. Like when you see a high school freshman, you're like, oh, well, this guy, when he's a senior, he's going to be so much better than he is right now. And if he doesn't, you're like, what happened? But then like we expect college freshmen to be finished products. Well, that's just many times not the case, not even close to the case.
Yeah, it is weird because some guys are like, their best years are their freshman year in college. It's the development. It doesn't always make. They're sort of finished products there, and they don't really get a lot better. But then for some, and Romero is one that shouldn't have been the case. We should have known that he was a guy that's going to need development because he was a stud football player and he never wrestled year round kind of thing. So with guys like that, their arc is coming, and but I feel like collectively we were all kind of like, might not happen. He may not be that guy. Because one of the questions with Romero were, well, we haven't really seen him against the best very much, right? He wasn't like a Super 32 guy. He wasn't a guy that wrestled freestyle. So really it was just like he was a 4-time Ohio State champion. I think he won, maybe he won Ironman or whatever, but he hadn't hit a lot of national competition. And then he wrestled Labriola and Dapper Dan and the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, and lost.
Like 3-2.
Really close match. Yeah. You could tell he was on Labriola's level, but so it's like, well, how good is he? It was sort of a question there. So we were kind of
For me, a lot of that development in college, and this is kind of like, and we can't get exactly inside the mind of like a Pat Popolizio or Kale Sanderson, but I would be heavily recruiting just when you say the kids who like really enjoy wrestling or love wrestling, for me that's what, if you can keep your head in the game for 5 years of college wrestling, you're going to get better, right? You have great coaches around you have great teammates, you're going to get better. Where I think the lack of development happens is when some of these kids who've been competing 100 times a year and what happened? What?
From Ariel Helwani, Jake Paul will fight Ben Askren in an 8-round pro boxing match on April 17th, per Triller founder Ryan Kavanaugh. The fight will serve as the main event of the next Triller Fight Club card. Location TBD. Done deal.
Who knew? What happened? Are you sure that's true?
Ariel Helwani tweeted it. The verified Ariel Helwani just tweeted it. I will slack it to Tyler right now.
Well, they didn't tell me they were announced while I was live on radio this morning, dum-dums.
Well, I think Ariel just broke it.
Yeah, he broke it, dude. He's not waiting for anyone. It's not announced. Here it comes.
Dude, I'm doing an interview with Ariel in 54 minutes. Come on.
Well, I think I know what the topics will be that you discuss. There it is. Read it and weep, brother. You sandbagging son of a gun.
Oh yeah. Well, I was supposed to keep it a secret, and I kept it a secret. I did a good job.
Yeah, you didn't tell us. Although you didn't
Where's
tell us.
Where's the location?
Fight Island.
It's TBD. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think I was supposed to say.
Yeah, we won't tell anyone. You can tell us, and we just won't tell anyone. Is it gonna be in America?
Yeah, America.
All right, America first.
Yeah. So listen, I'm looking forward to it. It's fun. Make a whole bunch of money. It's going to be outstanding.
Yeah, that's great. Are you going to beat him?
I think so. Yes, I definitely do believe. His first 2 fights were against guys who've literally probably never been punched before. They look like they'd never fought. I think I'm going to beat him.
Okay.
Ben, it seems like everyone in the comments really wants you to win. Someone said first time in
no
my
one
life
likes
I
this
want
guy.
Askren to win.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no one likes him. I don't really get it. I don't get the whole I don't really quite understand why he's famous. It's like a YouTube star or something. I get it, but I've watched a couple of things. I'm like, I don't know. He's not like too funny or anything. I just don't understand.
Yeah,
he's the worst.
He's big with like 14-year-olds.
Yes.
14-year-olds think he's like the coolest dude ever.
Yeah.
Ben gonna
that's
get
funny
hurt and
that
shoot
got
for a
announced.
takedown. I'm reading some of these tweets.
So anyways, I was talking. We're doing a wrestling show, Christian.
Okay.
I was talking.
Well, every
before
now and
you so
again,
rudely
Ariel Helwani
interrupt.
breaks that the co-host is going to be in a boxing match. So while we tend to typically stay on topic, it's hard when things like that happen. And national sports news breaks live on the show with someone that's on the show. So I'm sorry, Ben, for the diversion, but if I may say, it's your fault.
Oh, damn.
A lot of people think you're getting knocked out.
Listen, that's just a bunch of bums on Twitter. They don't know what they're talking about. I thought this was being announced later today. I did not know that this was happening. I mean, I've been talking to these people, and the plan was later today. I don't know why they broke it right now. I don't get it.
Twitter's funny. Oh my
Twitter
gosh.
is funny.
There's a gif of
So
you
that's
like.
Twitter's kind of savage. That's why I kind of I don't want to say I never heard that Aaron Rodgers quote you guys brought up earlier, but I kind of appreciate it because a lot of what Twitter is, you just have to like ignore. Like I do not read 98% of the comments. Once in a while, if I'm bored and I'm in a car, I'll scroll through and then I'll just start picking on some of the stupid comments. But 90% of the time, I don't read the comments.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. It's impossible. And listen, I'm not even remotely as famous as Aaron Rodgers is. Like I can't even imagine all the crap that he's got to deal with.
Yeah.
Gotta be insane.
I'm not as famous as Aaron Rodgers either. How about you, Brecky?
No.
Neither of us are either. Wow, just three
So
guys chopping it up, not as famous as Aaron Rodgers.
I was saying
We're so relatable.
what I was
Ben.
saying prior to your interruption was that if I was recruiting guys with for the love of wrestling, it's like if they just want to be there and they want to continue getting better, they're surrounded by good coaches, they're surrounded by good teammates, they're going to get better. So
yes,
but if they've had hundreds of matches, they've been cutting weight their whole life, and then maybe you have a coach that continues to grind them, then they tune out and they never get better. Then generally a lot of times you see regression actually, and you see regression because they don't actually want to even be there.
right, and that will stifle. And then you've got hungry people you're training alongside, and they're passing you, and next thing you know, you're out of the lineup.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Hey, other news: Isaac Trumble, this kid. I don't know anything about.
Yeah, who is this kid? I texted you on Friday night. I've never heard of Isaac Trumble.
Well, first of all, I guess the first point of news is I guess Nick Renan is not in the lineup anymore. This won't help, certainly.
Oh my God!
This was kind of the marquee match. Renan Bonacorsi, and then they send out Trumble, and Trumble beats Bonacorsi like 6-1.
Well, WrestleStat has Isaac Trumble at number 3.
Oh,
He's got 3 pins and a win over Nino Bonacorsi.
he's an animal.
You can tell he's very good on top.
Yes.
We've
got the video.
Yeah, we've got this clip here. He was riding him out the entire second period, and there was a kind of a weird exchange, and he actually got pit challenged, and he got called for locking hands. And then on the restart with 20 seconds left, did this.
Bought like a Turk.
Yeah, he got a
takes him over.
Turk. And,
Lucky he didn't pin him here.
Yeah,
He has a reverse half.
he kind of ran out of time
So,
there.
have you guys? Where did they find this guy, Isaac Trumble?
Omaha.
I mean, literally, Omaha.
Yeah, he's a
Omaha,
Nebraska
okay.
kid. He finished last year number 43 on our senior big board. He was like third at Super 32, lost to Brandon Hostleton.
Oh, he's
was
that
a
high at Super 32?
Yeah. And Hostleton's a top 40 guy in the class of 2021. I don't know. Maybe just a little under the radar because he's from Nebraska, not super well known.
This is one of those where it's
power.
like where we talk about how good Pat Popolizio is at finding this type of guy. Like This guy's a true freshman. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you guys see his roster picture? His hair is like 27 feet long.
Yeah, he's got some serious flow. Looks like
Been cut now though.
yeah, he looks sharp now. But dude, he looks like sometimes you see a true freshman's like physique and you're like, yeah, it looks like a true freshman. He looks freaking strong.
Yeah, he watched. I was live blogging that match, and
Flex.
Bonacorsi was in on his leg so many times and couldn't even come close to scoring. He's like 6'4" too.
Oh, this has Pat Pop
Yes,
written all over
yes, he's that power forward type that Pat Pop
Yeah.
loves. He's good on top. He just
Scrambly, I guess.
frustrates the crap out of it. It wasn't even like scrambles. Like Bonacorsi would just get in on a head inside single, and he would just put his hips on him and drape over and like grab an ankle, and Bonacorsi couldn't move.
Man.
Like there wasn't much scrambling out of it. I think this guy's gonna give people problems.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, look at this guy. White Snake, Isaac Trumble. Look at this dude.
So Trumble, great hair, Trumble. Keep that going. He went heavyweight his senior. So he went 182 his junior high school, and then he went heavyweight his senior high school, and went 50-0.
That's insane.
Boom.
50-0.
I bet he had lots of pins too.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably did.
I guess
He's at heavyweight in Nebraska, and he's really good.
dude, NC State's really good. Can you imagine if he had to? He's probably fighting Trent Hidlay every day. Like he's going to get a lot better.
Yes, I mean Renan's there. Yeah, they have a really good team, and maybe some points that we weren't counting on for. Although, I think expectations for Renan were somewhat. There was optimism there that he could.
He'd looked better this year,
and he had. But
NC State does such a good job of recruiting their guys, like guys that they know will work well in their system and fit their culture. Not just recruiting to rankings or like in football recruiting to stars. Like you're recruiting guys that are going to fit in your program and your culture and what you're best at, what you're best at developing. And man, they do such a good job.
100%.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, NC State. I don't have the duel in front of it. They killed Pitt, and Pitt's a pretty solid team, and they beat them up.
Yes, they did. I think we both talked. Me and CP both were like, we'll take Pitt in the points, and that was the wrong side to be on.
No, that was wrong. So that was one of the bigger. I don't know if that was the biggest. I guess Schroeder losing, but in a way,
that was the biggest one.
Trumble's the bigger one. That's more. That's going to have
Trumble
impact on the landscape because that's just out of nowhere. And it was like, I'm not even gonna say it. It's just more legit. It's like I do not think Eric Barnett will ever beat Schroeder again personally. But like Trumble,
ooh, that's shots fired by Christian Miles.
At least
listen,
not
I've been trying to get Eric
headlock.
Barnett he's into tier. I want him into tier 2. You guys kicked him out of all the tiers. I will not tolerate any more disrespect against my guy, Eric Barnett.
Well, I don't have anything against Eric Barnett, but it's like he just needs to not get majored by Malik Heinzelman for me to, elevate him to where you want him to be.
Yeah, that would hurt his cause, wouldn't it?
It does. It did hurt his cause. And the fact that it happened hurts it even more. Yeah, so.
Let me see. When does they wrestle again?
Who?
This weekend,
Wisconsin?
right? Badgers.
Oh. Badger talk.
I'm sure they do. Let me look.
Badger talk.
Badger time. Did you ever have Badger Max, Ben? The famous sports drink?
I think maybe once.
They wrestle Nebraska this weekend.
Sunday.
Oh.
So what's there? So he'll get.
Oh, and then they're not going to get Michigan the weekend after.
He'll get Cronin.
Because Michigan's out.
Yeah, Michigan's out.
So he needs to beat Liam of Croton, and then he'll be back in the mix.
Yeah. Wow. Penn State. They need to have a wrestling match. They need to stop ducking everybody.
That is one of the. No team has ever won NCAAs without wrestling a match. Oh, they're ducking people. Wow, that's a spin zone.
Spin zone. All right, so they're
supposed to wrestle
we got
Northwestern in Indiana. Yeah, Saturday.
Do it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, seriously. So they're going to have 2 matches.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to make up all these matches, though. Like, how's Michigan going to get these 4 matches back?
You're just not.
Yeah, they're just not, right?
Yeah.
So isn't there a minimum on auto qualifier for this year of like 4 matches? I bet they're going to reduce that.
There's something going on there. I'm trying to figure it out.
So I think
they're going to have to reduce it.
You cannot wrestle at conferences and still get a wild card this year, I'm pretty sure. As long as you've wrestled 4 matches.
I hate that. That should not be.
It's just
listen. You don't have to show up to nothing, but you got to be at conferences to go to NCAAs.
It's for COVID.
I know it's for COVID.
What if you wrestled all year? You wrestled as many matches as you could. You got 15 matches in, and then you get contact traced.
Although, you know what? Why not? If they're going to let dudes roll up and take 1 second injury defaults and then medical forfeit out of the tournament, what's the difference?
And I don't think it's going to be a ton of people that do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be for people that actually need it.
This is why you keep an open mind, Bracky. I changed my mind. You changed it.
Good. If I can change,
Yeah.
you can change. We all can change.
We all can change. You got to, Ben, if you knock out whichever Paul brother you're fighting, you need to have that speech. Are you going to call someone out? Who are you going to call out? Is there some TikToker? You never know.
TikToker.
I don't know. You got a YouTuber, get a TikToker.
Listen, I've never been on TikTok. I've literally never been on it.
Just knock Logan out after you knock Jake out.
Yeah.
That would be. Is Logan? Are they the same size, or is like one smaller or
Logan's bigger?
Well, I almost had to pin Logan in 45 seconds, but he wouldn't do it. He got scared.
You got to fight.
Bigger for sure.
You got to fight Logan Paul, Jake Paul, then Chris Paul. Okay.
Chris Paul, who's he?
He is a point guard in the
NBA
National Basketball
player.
Association.
Well, he can't fight with the damn then.
Unlikely. He probably went to the Nate Robinson School of Boxing.
Sir, Nate Robinson was so embarrassing.
That was pretty bad.
He was so bad. Like he never fought before his whole life.
Yeah, it's probably true. I remember the press conference. He said, "I'm here to cement myself as the greatest athlete of all time."
What?
No, he did not. Are you serious?
He said almost exactly. He's like, I'm one of the great. He's like, I'm the greatest athlete of all time, or I'm one of the greatest athletes of all time. I'll find the quote. We'll play it tomorrow.
Are you?
I was like, Nate, is that what you think this? Who told you that's what this fight is about? All right, let's. What's Jake have to say?
Jake says it's official. Representing the UFC, Mr. Napoleon Dynamite lookalike Ben Askren finally accepted the fight. He's a 2-time NCAA champion, a world champion in 2 different global mixed martial arts organizations, and has less losses on his record than Conor McGregor. Yeah, I'm still going to knock him out faster than Masvidal did. Some MMA guys think because they throw punches, they know how to box. I shocked the world when I knocked out NBA superstar athlete. That's a
troll. That's a troll. He's trolling now.
Not a superstar, but some people still complain that he's not a real fighter because he's not. So now I'm giving the people what they want, but taking on a real fighter. After I add Ben to my knockout meme collection, what can anybody say? April 17th, 82 days. The countdown starts now. Be ready.
Oh my gosh.
Boom.
April 17th.
Oh yeah.
There's
no wrestling April 17th. You guys are free.
Can we
You
come?
can cover it. I don't know that they're allowing people. I guess we'll see. Wait and see.
They're allowing people. There's going to be people there. You're going.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be my coach or anything. So.
Why not? You were way too quickly dismissed the idea of me coaching you.
I will not dignify that with an answer.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe a mindset coach. You know, who knows? Yeah.
I liked how he said finally, because the first time he challenged me, I said yes, and then he wanted to fight that wimp Dylan Dennis because Dylan Dennis is embarrassingly bad. But I think Dylan Dennis was too scared or something, so then he had to fight me.
Yeah, Dylan is not. They try to get him to do like jiu-jitsu, but I just don't think he likes any sort of actual competition. He just wants to be famous on the gram, which he is.
They did that clearly staged thing where Dennis was just standing outside and Jake Paul and his crew like drove by and threw eggs at him.
You think that was staged?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes. Come on, Christian.
He doesn't know anything.
Christian bought it. He bought it, didn't he, Frank?
Chris is like, wow, they knew exactly where he was going to be, and they were going to throw eggs at him.
Listen, I don't know. That's how drive-bys happen. You find out he's going to be on this corner at this time, and then thankfully they didn't use 9s. They threw whatever they threw at them, eggs or something.
Yeah, eggs, I think, or was it water balloons? I don't know, one of the two.
Might have been water balloons. And as we know on The Wire, you can put anything in those water balloons.
It's true.
Oh, that was a good episode. But that was. Now you got to be thinking about The Wire and then Dookie. That is such a sad story.
I know. Poor Dookie. But you know what? He ends up being Bubbles. He has a long, hard life, but then he ends up on the other side of it. That's what I tell myself. Okay, what the heck?
We're all over the place.
We're all over the place. Well, it's Ben's fault.
Well, I did not listen. Here's the deal. I thought I was doing an interview after this show about this, and then they were going to release it later in the day. No one alerted me to this.
Yes. Well, consider yourself alerted. That's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Alerted, yes.
Okie doke.
I'm alerted.
Want to go to some?
Christian actually alerted me. I was going on a tangent about how, how you're supposed to keep improving as a college athlete, and then Christian just starts punching Kyle, and then now we should just end the show. We're a disaster.
It's not bad, Ben. It's great. People would probably think it's cool. Like, we're there for your live reaction. You didn't even know you were fighting him. to this point, you had no idea that was happening.
I did know that.
No, you didn't know, Ben. You had no idea.
Broke the news to you.
You had no idea you were going to fight.
You're right. You're right.
You have, for all we know, someone has a conservatorship over you and is able to sign you up for fights.
Yeah.
Just like Brittany.
What?
Brittany is who Jake Paul's going to fight next.
Jake Paul. Yeah, I think does he think Napoleon Dynamite was an insult? Because Napoleon Dynamite was an outstanding movie, which I really enjoyed. So I'm not all that offended by that reference.
Also, I saw Napoleon Dynamite in one fight, sort of, and he slapped Kip right in the face and got away with it. So I think you should say thank you. At least if he called you Kip, that would be much worse.
Yeah, that would be much worse. Kip was way worse than Napoleon.
Yeah.
And, Napoleon was kind of like the hero of that movie because Uncle Rico, he was kind of a shitbag too.
Yeah, not an ideal uncle. Not an ideal uncle, although an amazing athlete for sure.
I actually just quoted Napoleon Dynamite the other day, and I quoted it to my athletes I was coaching, but they're middle schoolers this time of year. They had no idea what I was talking about.
Really?
They're like, "What? You guys never seen Napoleon?" They're like, "What? What are you talking about?" The best quote of the movie. I could throw a football over them mountains.
Oh man, I'm surprised they don't know that one.
They didn't know it.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over these mountains? He throws a stake right. I let my kids watch that, actually. They thought it was really funny. Okay.
There's no swearing or anything.
No, it's good. It's appropriate. The worst part, is only an appropriate part, is when Uncle Rico is selling the breast enhancement or whatever, and he holds like 2 pots over the Starla's chest or whatever her name was. And then Rex Kwon Do comes in and beats him up in that moment. I think I actually fast forwarded through that part. But yeah, other than that, it's a good movie. Okay, from question time. Even though Ben's trying to end the show, it's a great show, weirdo.
Great show.
From Wethersfield Wrestling, that's how you say that word. If Iowa becomes the second team ever to get all 10 to AA, along with 01 Minnesota, what else would they have to do to be considered the greatest team of all time? Well, I think you need you get 10. Well, the thing that Minnesota team didn't have was a national champion.
Right.
And who considers that Minnesota team to be the greatest of all time? No one considers that.
Yeah, no one has ever.
No one.
They all live in Minnesota, the people that would maintain that. Yes, it is an amazing feat. It's not the greatest team of all time. It's not in the conversation. But I guess the hypothesis, if they get all 10, we believe they're going to get some national champions, at least one for sure, right? So,
yeah. The hard part, Christian, about this is you would normally just say break the scoring record and you're the best of all time, right? But now it's like it's going to be it is. There's no way to argue this. Scoring points in the NCAA tournament this year is easier than in typical years because you're missing entire good teams. Cornell, for example, you're taking all of the points that it would have gotten, and you're dispersing them among other teams. Same thing with Princeton, who would have had multiple All-Americans and other teams. So, man, that makes it easier to score points. So it's such a strange year Because I think in a traditional year, Iowa could break the scoring record with the team they have this year. But given circumstances, it's hard to say that they're the best ever.
Yeah, I would have a hard time making such a declaration. And it's kind of weird to base, if a team is one of the greatest teams of all time, you wouldn't just base it on NCAAs. There should be like the whole season, right?
That too.
And one thing for me, the 2018, I don't even think this is necessarily the best Penn State team we've seen, but the 2018 team that beat that Ohio State super team, that is really impressive to me when you have to go through that to win NCAAs against another super team. And that Ohio State team wins NCAAs. I know, I'm sorry, Ohio State fans, you can just cut it off right now. But that team wins NCAAs most years.
Yeah.
Like in the history of Division I wrestling, that team wins.
Like pretty much every year.
A lot of years.
Running away. And then they ran into a juggernaut team, and the juggernaut team stepped up and made it happen at the Bo Nickel. And I'm sorry if I'm giving you guys a flare up here, but that was really freaking impressive.
Those teams were so good, Christian. Both those teams, because when you think about the point scoring too, if you were Ohio State scored really high, like their point total would have beaten most other champions. But then if you took away Penn State's points and think about how many more Ohio State would have scored, dude, they were so good.
They were ridiculous.
So Nomad did this article a while back. It focuses on the best seasons of all time, but it has a lot in here about what those teams did at NCAAs. And outside of breaking the scoring record, which like the 83 team scored 155 actual points, but that translates to 177 and a half now. But those teams had 9 All-Americans. They had 2 different teams with 9 All-Americans, none lower than 5th, which is crazy.
That's insane.
And then they had 4 champions one year. And then one year they won, in 1986, they won NCAAs by 73 points. So
Oh my God.
just like put 10 on the podium, win by a lot, and then I don't know, how many champs do you need? 4 or 5 maybe?
I think you got to have I think you have to have more than 2 champs.
Multiple champs.
You need like 3. Yes. You need like 5 in the finals.
Yeah.
To
well, the other what if thing is we still don't know what this Penn State team is going to be. Like, is Kirk Levitt going to be what we imagine? Is he going to be really, really good? Is Soroki going to be what we like? And not in 2 years or 3 years, like this year, are they going to be what we think they are? Is Robbie Howard going to be really good? Is Bo Bartlett going to be really good? Like, there's all these what ifs around Penn State, and
Brady Berge, Joe Lee, what are we getting out of those guys?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, and not that I think Penn State's going to upset Iowa. What I'm saying is like, again, strength of opposition when you're talking about all-time greats, that matters.
Yes, I agree. And think about their team. Looking back at Penn State teams, their 2017 lineup: Nick Sirianno, George Carpenter, Jimmy Gulabon, Zane Rutherford, Jason Alfin, Shinzo Joseph, Mark Hall, Bo Nickel, Matt McCutcheon, Nick Nevels. That's a pretty freaking stacked team there.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. I got derailed by the question. But
someone asked in Facebook if Iowa does AA all 10, will it have a COVID asterisk? I don't think so.
Well, the other thing that we don't know, and we're not going to know, is how many people are going to miss the NCAA tournament. Like, who's going to get freaking quarantined a week before?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
what if it's Gable?
What if it's Spencer? What if it's there's so many things that could happen. I listen, dude, I'll knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood here.
You're not superstitious.
Someone's getting quarantined. Just there's 330 athletes that make the NCAA tournament. The chances that nobody gets quarantined is so small. Yeah. So small. Like, let's be real about this. These guys, and it's like, I know how to not get them quarantined. To be really easy, Christian. Don't get them tested. But the NCAA is not going to go for that. They're going to test the crap out of these dudes. Someone's getting quarantined.
Yeah, I agree.
You're probably right. I guess my point, that there shouldn't be an asterisk is, even with all the Ivy Leagues and the teams that aren't competing this year, all 10 guys are ranked All-American. Like, they're not just in the conversation being All-American because, like, teams aren't competing or a bunch of guys aren't in weights or guys are redshirting or stuff like that. Like, they're legit All-American guys that a bunch of them have already placed before.
I don't think people will asterisk this year other than it will be said, yeah, that was the crazy COVID year. But you look at Iowa's lineup, and no one's going to look at that lineup and be like, yeah, if it wasn't for the weird COVID season, that team's not winning.
Right.
Like, they have such a stacked team. Whereas if you look at, I don't know.
They should have won last year.
Yeah, they should have won.
Hold on. But the other thing is we don't really have to guess here because essentially we're going to see the same thing next year. Aren't we? There's no eligibility this year. Iowa's going to roll out roughly the exact same team next year unless they get someone better at, say, 57 or 84. Maybe they can upgrade there, but otherwise they're rolling out the same damn team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. The only difference will be the Ivies will be back in the mix.
Yeah.
And any true freshmen who are graduating this year that would wrestle and have an impact, which that's probably a pretty small list. Pretty small list. Okay. Next one. Which of the crew would be the most successful competitive eater? My guess would be Ben, given his love of food, but I was wondering if there are any dark horses in there.
I feel like I can't consume large quantities at a single time. I just love to eat, which is my issue. I get heavier when I'm not like watching it. But I don't feel like I can do large quantities at one time.
I feel
That's
like
cracky, I think.
I am a very fast eater. I eat insanely fast, but I don't think I put that much away really any more than that. So I don't know.
It's definitely not me.
It's not Bracky. Bracky's competitive is that he can eat anything at any time of day. He'll walk in at 7:30, crack open a Monster, and eat some Chex Mix like it's the breakfast.
Which
of
I
champions.
might have allegedly done this morning.
You might have allegedly done. There's no way to prove it. There's no pictures, so we don't know.
Right.
But
I'm a very slow eater.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. What are we seeing? That doesn't make sense.
Maybe.
Got anything for us? Come on, Piles.
I'm sorry for the delay. Do you guys like classed individual tournament or unclassed? Also, which holds more weight for college coaches?
So, like, if states have like 3 different classifications, like how many does Wisconsin have?
Wisconsin has 3. Wisconsin has 3, and I would say, here's my opinion. I think that the one division states, which there are not that many, Indiana, New Jersey, California, etc. I mean, it's cool to have one state champion, but at the same time, I think it's really negative for their college recruiting perspective. I think there's a lot of kids that get lost in those states because some of their weight classes are so deep. And you'll get, like Pennsylvania's got 2, and I would say 2 to 3 is probably ideal based on your population. If you go out west, there's some of these states that are low population. They have 5. I think that's really bad. I would say a 2 or 3 would probably be ideal.
And I think there should be at least some level of separation. I mean, I just think about Virginia's crazy. 6 is just absolutely absurd and stupid. But 2 or 3 makes a lot of sense when you've got little schools with, less than 100 kids in it versus some of these Northern Virginia schools with thousands and thousands. Like they should have to go through the same path to be state champions. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. 6 is too crazy.
Yeah.
What?
I thought they had 7. I thought they had 7 in Virginia, not 6.
Well, 7 if you count private.
That counts.
Count it. 7. That's embarrassing. That's way too many.
Horrible. It was not that way when I was coming. It was 3. It was nice. And then
solid.
Like the last year I think I coached, we went to 6. Which honestly, it didn't impact the smaller schools as much, but it really broke up. A lot of schools got away from like Christiansburg, and it definitely changed like the 3A to 6A. I don't even know what is contained in those, but it's so crazy. But Buffalo Gap to me is like the classic like small school, high school, and even it was not in the single A class because it had like 500 and some people. Like it was even it's double A, which is so strange to me. Yeah. Okay. Which college?
So what's your ideal? What's your ideal? Give me your ideal, and Breck, you too.
I'd say. I mean, honestly, it depends on the state, but I think for Virginia, I think 3.
2 or 3, yeah.
I kind of like no class for individual state tournament.
You have no class, sir.
And then
An answer like that.
If you want to do like a team dual state, then you put them in classification so you don't have, like Christian was saying, schools with thousands of kids going up schools with hundreds.
I like that. I like that as an option. Some, like Virginia, doesn't have dual states.
Yeah, some states don't.
which
West
is
Virginia
unfortunate.
doesn't either. I think they're recently trying to get one organized, but we have 2 classes. And it's interesting because in every other sport, it's 3. They actually combine the 2 smallest for wrestling.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's all I have spotted.
What about this one? Tony Meister. If Seabass wins Big Ten's at 141, do you think he go up to 149 next year, try to be a 4-time Big Ten champion at 4 different weight classes?
No one's
Has that
done
ever
that,
been done?
ever, right? There's no
No
way.
way.
There's no way anyone
No
did it
way.
at 4 different weights. Yeah.
No chance. I mean, there's not even that many 4-time Big Ten champs to begin with.
Dude, how freaking awesome is Seabass?
He's so good.
He beats Spencer Lee at 125. He goes up, beats Seth Gross and RB Wyatt at 133.
I mean, can you guys think of anyone besides Kyle Dake who's went up and had success at that many different weight classes? I can't really even think of anybody else.
Just LJ Helbig. Other than him, no.
I mean, Bo Nickel did 3, but 4 is so rare. So rare.
Yeah. Who else did? I guess David only had 2. Ed Ruth only had 2. Quentin Wright, he placed at
He had 3.
74. Placed at 74.
Redshirted.
He won 184. He won 197.
Bo went at 3 different weights? Big Tens?
He did not.
Bo started at 74.
But he didn't.
Oh, I'm stating
win
like
his
high
freshman
level
year, did he?
success.
Or wait, did
No,
he?
I'm
He won
just-
Big Tens.
I'm
as a
just saying
freshman.
like
Yeah.
successful. I'm not saying Big Ten championship. Like anyone, any conference success at that many different weights. Like there's very few people who have 3. There's almost nobody. I mean, besides Kyle Dake, who's got 4 weight classes under their belt?
Just in terms of success at 4 weights.
Like let's say like All American or close to All American.
Yeah, I think
I can't think of anybody.
Bo's the closest with 3 of
Yeah.
high level. I can't think of anyone else who's done 4 weight classes with success. There's probably a name I'm missing or someone from the 90s or whatever I'm forgetting, but I can't think of anyone.
Yeah.
Jordan
that's so
Oliver.
crazy.
Jordan Oliver, 33 and then up to 49. He did the rare double skip, right? He said, "Forget 41. I'm going 49." You don't see that very often. Because he was career 33, right? He never.
Yeah.
And then just for his senior year,
He said, whoop.
let me eat. Okay. All right. Let's get the heck out of here. We did it.
Sorry for that breaking news. I did not. I literally thought it was happening this afternoon.
Whatever, dude. I know it's better this way. It's cool. I thought it was great. We got to read it. We got to see your reaction to finding out that someone signed you up to fight Jake Paul. Was it Jake?
Yeah.
Jake Paul.
Are you
Yeah.
going to go yell at someone for breaking that?
Yeah.
You going to yell at Ariel?
Yeah, you could go off on Ariel.
I'm gonna flip out on him.
Hey, you tell him we scooped him on it. Just tell him we were
Scooped
first.
him.
And he needs to credit us. Credit FRL. Hey, credit to you for listening, because that was all over the place. But I think it was fine, right? It was fine. You'll listen. You'll listen
fun.
tomorrow. I know you will. And we are so thankful for that. And we will be back tomorrow, Wednesday. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. And that's all I have to say. Goodbye.
Peace.